Hey, architecture firm owners and emerging leaders. Get ready for unparalleled insight into the development of a world-class architecture firm and a worldwide organization driving the digital transformation of the design and construction industry. With Build Smart, the podcast that's changing how our profession operates. We share the incredible stories behind innovation in the building industry with my friend and co-host, Patrick McLeamy, FAIA, former CEO of the international architecture firm, HOK.
You know, Yamasaki's office or firm lasted during his lifetime. And when he passed away, I think that was the end of the Yamasaki office. Helmut did not want that. He wanted a firm that would live out and grow beyond the founders.
In Season 1, discover the untold stories behind HOK's meteoric rise, from 150 employees in St. Louis to a powerhouse with over 1,900 staff members and 27 offices worldwide.
You know, they weren't as polite as the Kojima people. That was just boom. And anytime you have a creditor, whether it's Kojima or the bank, that wants their money, unless you can raise money someplace else, you are out of business.
Bankrupt. And hold on tight for Season 2, where Patrick takes us on a new adventure as chairman of Building Smart International, shaping the future of digital transformation in the design, construction, and operation of built assets.
Ian Howell, Ken Harold, and I, Ken was my technical representative from HOK. The three of us took a tour of Europe of 5 cities in 5 days. Very busy time.
Simply follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Smart now and uncover lessons that will transform you and your architecture firm. Hey, architecture firm owners and emerging leaders. Get ready for unparalleled insight into the development of a world-class architecture firm and a worldwide organization driving the digital transformation of the design and construction industry. With Build Smart, the podcast that's changing how our profession operates. We share the incredible stories behind innovation in the building industry with my friend and co-host, Patrick McLeamy, FAIA, former CEO of the international architecture firm, HOK.
You know, Yamasaki's office or firm lasted during his lifetime. And when he passed away, I think that was the end of the Yamasaki office. Helmut did not want that. He wanted a firm that would live out and grow beyond the founders.
In Season 1, discover the untold stories behind HOK's meteoric rise, from 150 employees in St. Louis to a powerhouse with over 1,900 staff members and 27 offices worldwide.
You know, they weren't as polite as the Kojima people. That was just boom. And anytime you have a creditor, whether it's Kojima or the bank, that wants their money, unless you can raise money someplace else, you are out of business.
Bankrupt. And hold on tight for Season 2, where Patrick takes us on a new adventure as chairman of Building Smart International, shaping the future of digital transformation in the design, construction, and operation of built assets.
Ian Howell, Ken Harold, and I, Ken was my technical representative from HOK. The three of us took a tour of Europe of 5 cities in 5 days. Very busy time.
Simply follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Smart now and uncover lessons that will transform you and your architecture firm. Entrepreneur Architect Podcast, Episode 46. This is the Entrepreneur Architect Podcast. My name is Mark R. LePage, and this is the podcast dedicated to a successful life as a small firm architect. My goal is to inspire you to build a better business so that you may pursue your purpose with passion and live the life of your dreams. As many of you know, if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, Anne-Marie McCarthy, who's my wife, and my partner here at 5 Cat Studio, we launched 5 Cat Studio Architecture back in 1999. And we had no clue what we were doing, and we grew with lots and lots of growing pains. And we found our way through the craziness of starting a firm, and we thrived for many, many years. And in 2005, many years after, 6 years after we launched, we hit a plateau. We grew and grew and grew, and then we hit this plateau, and we just sort of flatlined, and we weren't sure what we needed to do. And so I looked around for options on how to learn what I needed to learn. And in 2006, I found the Academy of Entrepreneurial Excellence. It was a 15-week course at my local community college here in Westchester County, New York, Westchester Community College. And in that course, it was a 15-week course. Each week, we learn a new topic about business, sort of teaching the fundamentals of the basic business fundamentals of success. And so each week I'd use it as a checklist. I'd come home after each class and I'd report to Anne-Marie and I'd say, yeah, we're doing that. And every week I'd go back and I'd take the next class and I'd come back and yes, we're doing that too. And I was so excited that we were doing everything right, but Anne-Marie was getting frustrated because we were looking for the answer to our problem of this plateau. And one week, about 3/4 of the way through, we hit the class on sales. And as you know, architects aren't so good at selling, and nor was I. And so I wasn't selling at all. You know, I had a great marketing plan, and I was really good at that, and I had natural rapport. But closing the sale was sort of a crapshoot. Sometimes we won, and sometimes we lost. There was no rhyme or reason in what we were doing. And in the academy, I learned that we needed a sales system. So we built one. We built the sales system, and things started to change. And I shared that sales system a few episodes ago on episode 31 of the podcast here. So if you go to entrearchitect.com/episode 31, I talk all about that sales system, and maybe I'll get into it a little bit later too. But the first step in our sales system, and as with most sales systems, is to build rapport with your prospect. Make a connection and earn the privilege to take your new relationship to that next level. So this week on the Entrepreneur Architect Podcast, I will share my 10 steps to build better rapport and close more sales. This episode of the Entrepreneur Architect Podcast is brought to you by Entrepreneur Architect Academy. Entrepreneur Architect Academy is a community of like-minded entrepreneur architects seeking to take their small firms to greater success. And you are the average of the 5 people with whom you surround yourself, and this is the opportunity to be a part of a group of professionals who are determined to take their businesses, their lives, and their leadership to the next level. But enrollment for the Academy is currently closed, and if you're interested in learning more about the Entrepreneur Architect Academy, and we will open it up soon, and you want to receive notification about enrollment in the next class, Class 3, join the Academy email list at entrearchitect.com/courses. Sales. It's not a dirty word, guys. It is something that we need to learn to do better. And we need to overcome the fear of sales. I think so many of us architects, including myself, have this fear that you're going to be perceived as sort of a sleazy salesman, or your service is going to sort of become undermined by you going out and selling. We need to overcome that. We need to overcome the fear of sales. We, as architects, have a service to offer. Our service makes the world a better place. We change the lives of the people who live in our buildings. We make the world a better place. And it needs to become our mission to make more sales. That idea that every time we do our job, the world becomes a better place, that becomes our mission. And the more sales we make, the more the world becomes a better place. So we all want to change the world, right? So the more sales we make, the better the world becomes. Sales should not revolve around money in order to make us sort of feel better about what we're doing. It should revolve more around accomplishing our mission. Our businesses become the vehicle for us to change the world, and the money becomes the fuel for the vehicle. So the more money we make, the more the vehicle can do what it's doing, and the more the world becomes a better place. So we need to shift our mindset on how we look at sales and how we look at money. Our lives are changed when we learn the importance of sales. It happened with Anne-Marie and myself when we learned that we were missing sales in our process, in our business completely. We were doing great marketing and everybody knew who we were, but we weren't selling. And our business improved as soon as we understood that, as soon as we knew what we needed to do in order to make more sales, everything got better. Our firm grew and our lives changed, and things in the firm and in our personal life improved because there was more money. There was more fuel for that vehicle. Let me get into a little bit of our sales system. I did go through it in depth in episode 31, entrearchitect.com/episode 31. But basically, the idea is to first start with building rapport. And that's what I'm going to talk about mostly today on this podcast episode. But that's the first step. You need to build a rapport. You need to make a connection with the person that you're meeting. The next step is to qualify that lead, to understand the budget and the scope of what that client wants and make sure that it's compatible with your firm and with what you want to accomplish with your firm. You want to make sure that you understand the style that the client is looking for. You want to understand the personalities of whom you're working with. That could be your biggest nightmare is signing up for a new project with a personality that is incompatible with yours and your team. It's better to pass on a project where you're incompatible with personalities. It's very difficult to overcome that. You want to make sure in this qualifying the lead, you want to make sure that you're meeting your target market. I've talked about that in the past, but every one of us in our firms should have a target market. We shouldn't be just shooting in a shotgun all over the place, hoping to get whatever we get. We shouldn't just be going out and, I'll do an office building here and a kitchen here, and I'll go for this school project here and just shoot all over the place. We need a target market. We need to understand what we want to work on, what we're good at, what our team is good at, and then go after that market. Understand that market in depth. Who is that person that you're going? The decision maker of who's going to hire you. Understand who that person is in very minute detail. At 5CAT, we're a residential firm. I know very specifically that our client is a young family led typically by the wife. She typically is the one who does the legwork to find the architect and meet with us and hire us. Often their husbands are involved, but it is very common that the wife is the one who makes that decision. Typically, there are kids involved, and so we know that our client has kids. So we know very well who our target market is. We know that we want to do residential work, and we know that we want the budgets of those projects to be within $300,000 to about $750,000 is really our sweet spot. We want to do work that's bigger than that, but if it's too much bigger than that, we're not really set up to handle really, really large residential projects. So if we're shooting for a project that's too big, that could burn us, as well as something that's too small. And having something too small is very, very difficult to build a profit on and have a profitable business when you're set up the way we're set up. There are many firms that do have the business model of working with the smaller projects, doing kitchens and bathrooms and small additions. And if you're set up with the low overhead and you can do a lot of that kind of work, you can make a very profitable business from that. And so I'm not saying that that's something that's not something good to do. It's just something that as we've grown, we've learned that we have a target market. And so qualifying the lead includes building and understanding that target market. So this third step in the sales system is schedule a meeting. So you build a rapport, you qualify the lead all on the telephone still, then you schedule a meeting, and you set it up and you tell them when you'll be there and what time you'll be there, and then the next step is to meet. And the most important part of meeting is be on time. Don't get there too early and don't get there too late. If you told them that you're going to be there at 3 p.m.,
be there exactly at 3 p.m. Ring that doorbell at 3 p.m. and then do that every time you meet with them again, and you'll start building trust and consistency, and they'll start they'll start trusting you more, because that's a very good sign that you do what you say you're going to do. You build integrity that way. And then at the meeting, you build more rapport. Again, very important. You want to build more rapport. I'm going to talk about how to do that. The next thing is explain your process at that meeting, so they understand how you work, and talk about your fees. Talk about how the process works, what they should expect and what they should not expect. All before a proposal. All of this should happen, so you're building expectations and managing them. Offer some basic ideas to show that you're open and you can show your skills. You can demonstrate your skills by providing some basic ideas to solve some of the problems that they're talking to you about with their projects. A lot of architects are afraid to give away their ideas in that initial meeting. I think it's a great way to build rapport and trust in order to get that job. And then state that you want the job. So at that meeting, when you're all done and you've been on time and you've built rapport and you've explained the process and you've offered some basic ideas, tell them that this is a job that you want. Come right out and say, this is a job that we're really good at. This is what we do all the time, and we want your job. And then the last part at the meeting is to offer a proposal, and make sure that you clarify what that means, because a lot of clients don't understand what that means. When I've had clients, when I first started, when I would say, well, I'm going to offer, would you like me to send you a proposal? And then I would send them our fee proposal, which is what I meant and intended. And they thought that I was going to send them a proposal for their design. So be very, very specific that you're offering a fee proposal, and that the fee proposal includes describing the process. It gets into more detail on what you talked about earlier, and it talks about your fee and how your fee works, and it basically becomes our agreement. Our proposal is our hybrid proposal. It's both our proposal as well as our agreement. You can get a copy of that at entrearchitect.com/hybrid. You can purchase a video that explains how our proposal works, and I also include the templates for that. So if you're interested in that, you can go check that out. The next step in the sales system is the follow-up. So, the next step after the meeting is to send the proposal. So you've offered the proposal, they've accepted that they want the proposal. You shake their hand and you head off. And the next day, and you give them some time limits on that. So in the meeting, you say, okay, I'm going to send you the proposal within 2 weeks, is what we typically say. And then within one week, we send them an email of the proposal, and it includes a PDF of the proposal. So I'm under promising and over delivering right from the beginning. So I'm sending the proposal by email 1 week after I said that it may take 2 weeks. And then after I send the email, I send a hard copy by postal mail. And what that does is that they get the email very quickly, then they're very happy and they read through it and they put it on their shelf and they forget about it. And then a couple of days later, the proposal comes in the mail and they get a second reminder all about how great you are and how your proposal works. And maybe in that postal mail version, you send some project sheets of some pictures of other projects that look just like what they want to do, and show them that you've done it before. And include references so they can call your references, and your references can help sell you, can tell you how awesome you are and what a great job you do and what a nice person you are and why every cent of your fee is worth it, because your fees are really, really high, right? They should be higher than everybody else in your region, and you should be providing more service than everybody else, so you have a reason for high fees. And your clients will be very happy because you provide that very high level of service, and they'll understand that your fee was well worth it, and then they'll tell your prospect all about how that was worth it. So send the proposal by postal mail. So the last part of the sales system is the follow-up, and that, for me, was the most important part of the system. Everything else I was pretty much doing. The follow-up is what I was missing. I sent out the proposal, and then I sat there and I waited for the answer to the phone to ring. and I heard crickets often, just waiting for the phone to ring. Crickets would be chirping. So I added the follow-up. So I would email about a week later or call. I would call. The email comes later. So I would call and I'd confirm that they received the proposal. I was just calling to confirm that you received my proposal and to answer any questions that you may have. That's what I would say. And they would have some questions, and I would answer those questions. And so this is another reminder. So you sent the first one by email and the second one by postal mail, and now you're calling them and you're reminding them again about how wonderful you are. And what you could do in that follow-up call is to offer a second meeting. Very often, a client will get a little overwhelmed by the whole idea of a proposal and the project, and they'll get some more questions going. And you might be able to answer those questions over the telephone, but it may be better to do that with a second meeting. So offer a second meeting, and then you'll have a second opportunity to meet with them and go through those and build more rapport. Then the final piece, very important, ask for the job. So often we don't do that. We just send the proposal and we wait for them to say that they want to hire us. We should be telling them that we want their job, that this is the job we want, and we want you to sign the contract and send it back to us so we can get started. And if they're not sure still, you can ask them this very important question: what is holding you back from making the decision to work with me? What's holding you back? What are the things that are stopping you today from saying, okay, I want to hire you and work with you? Because then you could answer those questions either immediately or by phone. You could follow up by email or send them something in the mail with some answers on how what to answer those questions and what's holding them back. And so those are the parts of the sales system. And I didn't really want to get too deep into that, but that's the basic sales system for Five Cat Studio. It's a pretty basic sales system for any business. But the most important thing is the rapport, I think. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Marketing makes the phone ring, and we were really good at that. We had a website before anybody else did. I did a lot of PR work with magazines and newspapers. We were all over, and everybody knew who Five Cat was. But marketing and the phone rang, so we were really good at that. But sales begins the first point of contact. You need to start right at the beginning with sales. Success in sales starts with building rapport. Rapport comes naturally to some people. For me, I think when I meet somebody, I'm very good at that. I'm very good, ever since I was a kid, I was very good at getting people to trust me and like me. I have a very good sense of how to connect with people and build rapport. But for some others, that skill is something that needs to be learned, and everybody's different. And so if you're not good at that, it's okay, because you can learn it. And I'm going to share some steps on how you can get better at that. And rapport, it's the first step to closing the sale. They need to trust you. I believe it's the most important business skill you can have, is to be able to build rapport, because people want to do business with people who they know and they like and they trust. If they don't know and like and trust you, it's going to be hard for them to sign a contract with you. So your goal is to very quickly reach that level of engagement of someone who knows and likes and trusts you. And building rapport is how to accomplish that goal. So here we go. Here are my 10 steps to build better rapport and close more sales. So number one in building better rapport, be genuine, warm, and friendly. You want to smile, and you want to have good manners and be polite. You want to have good grammar, so that's very important. Make sure that you're speaking properly, and that you say please and thank you. I often find myself sort of being disarmingly honest. Sort of be honest in a way that people aren't expecting you to be honest. Sort of show some of your faults, show some of your failures, because that's the way to build trust. Use humor. If you're good at that, I'm sometimes good at that, and sometimes I'm not. And so I use the things that I'm good at. I'm good at the smiling and being polite and having good grammar and being honest and sort of shedding that sort of warm, genuine feeling when I speak with someone. Sometimes the humor pops out when I feel very comfortable. Sometimes I'll use humor, but humor can also backfire. So you have to be very careful with that. But humor is a great way to build rapport. Compliments. Use sincere compliments, but not gratuitously. Make sure that it's sincere. Make sure that it's appropriate. But be complimentary. Tell somebody when you walk into their house or into their business, if their house is well kept or well designed. Tell them that you love the design and they love the colors on the walls. They're very proud of their homes and their businesses, and so share some compliments. And so that number 1 is be genuine, be warm and friendly. Number 2, second step in building rapport, which will lead to more sales. Show interest. Show interest in that client. Show interest in that prospect. Really, it's not your client yet. Show interest in your prospect. You can use a personal connection, indicate a personal connection. Very often when I meet someone in their home, I can look around and see photographs or books on the wall or a car in the driveway, and I can make a personal connection through those things. I can talk about kids. I can ask them whether they have kids, and I can talk about that I have kids, and my kids are the same age, and my kid's a Boy Scout as well, and yes, my kids swim as well. Yep. My kids don't play soccer. My kids swim. So it's a good way to sort of make a connection, make a personal connection. You could also tell a short story, a personal story about your own life. Be very short with that. Don't get into a big long story about who you are, and don't get too boring. But telling little short personal stories about you or your business is a great way to make a connection and show interest in another person. So the third step in building better rapport and close more sales, the third step is don't act desperate. You want to feel confident and act confident and know that you can get that job. And if you don't get that job, you're just going to move on to the next one. You don't want to act cocky or arrogant, but you don't want to be desperate. You don't want to be too quick to rush into a project or be too sales pitchy while you're meeting with them. So you don't want to act desperate. You want to act confident in what you do and who you are. Number 4, I talked about this earlier. Be on time. Huge pet peeve of mine. People don't show up when they tell me they're going to show up. I show up. I ring the doorbell. I time it. I get there early. I sit in my car and I time it. I walk up that front path and I ring that doorbell exactly when I told them I would. And I don't show up early and I don't show up late. I'm on time, and that is a great way to build rapport. And speaking of time, on the other end of the meeting, recognize when the meeting is over. That really could be a separate step, but I would tie that into time. Be on time when you show up and recognize when the meeting is over. Don't overstay your welcome. Don't recognize when the client has gotten enough information and they like you, and leave on a high note. You don't want to get in too deep or get into questions that make people uncomfortable or just spend too much time at a meeting. Our initial meetings that I meet with clients rarely are over 1 hour. I give them lots of my time, but I don't ever go overtime. So number 4 is be on time and recognize when the meeting is over. Number 5 in my 10 steps to build better rapport and close more sales. Number 5 is read the culture. Recognize whom you're meeting with. Is it whom or who? I think it's whom you meet with. Well, recognize the person you're meeting with and recognize the culture. When you're meeting maybe in a business situation for a client with a business, maybe a commercial project with an office, dress appropriately. Recognize the culture that if this is a business that everyone in the business is wearing ties and suits and skirts and blouses, don't show up in a t-shirt and blue jeans. Recognize the culture and dress appropriately. make sure the words you're using are appropriate for the culture. Make sure that if you're meeting with a client from a different ethnic culture, that you're not being disrespectful. Very often I'll meet with clients, and every client, no matter what their culture, I ask if they'd like me to take my shoes off. And very often, the culture of that family, despite what ethnic background they're from, would like your shoes to be taken off. And I specifically and intentionally wear loafers with no laces, so it's very easy to slip out of my shoes and be able to slip them right back on, because that's sort of an uncomfortable situation at the end of your meeting when you need to lace up your shoes. So I dress intentionally with shoes that are very easily removed and very easily replaced. So number 5, read the culture of your prospect. Number 6, mirror their body language. And this is a really important one. Sit if they sit. Stand if they stand. Match their movements and their posture. Sort of look at them while you're speaking with them, understand their body movements, and sort of mirror their body movements. People like people who are like them. And that's the way our chemistry works. Our brain chemistry works that way. You can use the same hand gestures. If they touch their face, wait for your turn to talk, and then you touch your face. Follow their facial expressions. If they're smiling, you smile. If they raise their eyebrows, you raise your eyebrows and maybe nod when they nod. Mirror their body language. Do what they do, and you'll be very surprised at how quickly someone starts to connect with you when you are mirroring their body language. Number 7, mimic the tone of their voice. And this is a very important one, but this is one that could really go wrong, because you want to, if they're speaking in a low voice, you speak in a low voice. You can match their breathing. If they breathe, you can breathe like they breathe. If they breathe very quickly, you can breathe very quickly. If they breathe very slowly, you can breathe very slowly. You can copy their accent slightly. If they have an accent, this is something that I pick up very naturally. If I'm speaking with somebody who has an accent, very quickly in that conversation, my accent changes from New Jersey, which is what you're hearing right now, because that's where I was born and bred. I live in New York, but I'm a Jersey boy. If I'm down south, I don't know how it happens, but I start getting this southern accent come through, my Jersey accent. So, and I don't do it disrespectfully, and that's very, very important, that you don't appear to be disrespectful, that it can't be so obvious that they're like, this guy's making fun of me. You want to just do it slightly, because people like people who are like them. You want to match their volume. If they speak loud, you want to match their volume. If they speak softly, you want to make sure that you speak softly too. You want to mimic the depth of their voice. If they speak in a deep voice, you speak in a deep voice. If they speak through their nose, bring your pitch up a little bit, and you speak through your nose a little bit. And so you want to mimic the tone of their voice. That's number 7. Number 8, match the rate of their speech. So if they're talking very quickly, you can talk very quickly, because that's the way some people like to talk, and you want to talk very quickly too. Because if you don't talk quickly and you start to speak slowly to someone who's speaking very quickly, they might think that you're not really all there, or that you're not as intelligent as they might be. Or if somebody speaks very slowly and you speak very slowly, or if you speak very quickly when someone is speaking very slowly, that you'll sort of they'll get turned off by that speaking they'll get intimidated, or they'll feel that or they won't be able to understand you because you're speaking too quickly. So match the rate of their speech. That's a great way to build rapport. And we're getting here to the end of my 10 steps. Number 9, repeat and approve. So once you've gone through your meeting with your client and you understand everything they want to do, you want to repeat it. You want to give them a quick summary of everything that you've learned, because you want them to know that you've been listening. So you repeat all of the things, and you may be taking notes all the way through your meeting. And so you read your notes and you say, okay, so we talked about doing this, and we talked about doing that, and we talked about doing that. Excellent. And there's the approval. Excellent. And confirm that they approve, that that's what you said, because that is the way that you show that you've been listening and you show respect that way. Number 9, repeat and get approval, and repeat and approve yourself. So repeat it and say, excellent. I'm very happy to be part of this. And number 10 is one that I love, because as a natural introvert, a natural shy kid who was really, really scared to talk or do anything as a kid outside of my comfort zone. So this whole entrepreneur architect journey is insane to me, that I'm speaking on this microphone right now, and I'm on video with the Academy, and I speak live in front of hundreds and often thousands of people, or not thousands, but maybe 1,000 people. It's amazing to me that someone like me who was naturally an introvert can do these things. So number 10 is act as if. Act as if you are confident. Act as if you have great extrovert skills, that you can communicate well with people, and that you are ready to jump on that stage at any minute. Act as if you can do anything they ask you to do. People want to work with people who are confident. They want to work with people who know what they're doing. And if you don't show that confidence, and you don't act as if you are confident in what you're doing and that you have those skills, they're not going to trust you. So number 10 is act as if. So that's it. That's my 10 steps to build better rapport and close more sales. If you build better rapport, people will know and like and trust you, and you will build more sales. If you follow the sales system over in episode 31, and you build some great rapport with those people by following these 10 steps, you will, I promise you will close more sales. If you're putting out proposals out there and you're not getting those sales, if you're not getting those contracts signed, it may be that you need to build better rapport. You need to make a better connection with those people, because very often those people who are hiring you will overlook your high fees. They'll overlook the fact that someone else is undercutting you with a lower fee, because they like you, because they trust you, because they've come to know you. It's important. It's very important to build rapport. So follow these 10 steps, build a better rapport, and close more sales. If you like this episode, please go to iTunes and leave me a review. This is how you can help me spread the word about Entrepreneur Architect and our mission to become an influential force in this profession of architecture. Go to entrearchitect.com/iTunes, or in iTunes, just search for Entrepreneur Architect. And since my call to action in response to the challenge sent out by my friends over at the ArchiSpeak podcast, I received several new reviews, and I just wanted to acknowledge a few of them here. Let's see. Billings.ak. Thank you very much. Billings.ak says, incredible resource. Mark, thanks to you, to your commitment and your service to the practice of architecture. Thanks. I appreciate that. Billings.ak. CV304 says, this is where it's at. If you are an architect, then this is the podcast you need to be subscribed to. Mark R. LePage's weekly podcast is the resource to refocus, guide, and encourage you each week. I love that review. Thank you very, very much, CV304. Design Hawk says, thanks for the insight. I appreciate the straightforward points and delivery, and the background music even started to grow on me. Thanks, Design Hawk. Grows on me too. And Brunt J, I think that's John Brunt. He's a member of the Academy. Thanks, John. John says, great podcast to get us moving productively. Mark's 10 tips are a great formula for getting down to work and getting things done. His reference to the power of habit which is the book I referenced in the last episode, is well-deserved, a great book. But I thank you for those kind words and all your support. And as of this recording, we are ahead by one review. Thank you very much, guys. We are ahead by one review ahead of ArcaSpeak podcast. So if you have not left a review yet, please head on over now and leave a few words about what you think of the show, because I would love to see 100 reviews by the end of the year. And that means that we need to get 4 new reviews each week, and I think that's pretty doable. From now until the end of New Year's, if we get 4 new reviews every week, we'd hit 100 by the end of the year. And so if you've already left a review, spread the word. Go tell your friends to listen to the podcast, and then go over to iTunes and leave a review and tell me what you think. I don't care what stars you write. If you think it's terrible, give me 1 or 2 stars. If you think it's great, give me 5. I love the 5 stars. But I want you to be honest. I just want you to give me a review. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. I want to make this thing better. So go over, leave a review, tell your friends, tell them to listen, and leave a review. And I really appreciate your support and all the encouragement for everything I do here at Entrepreneur Architect. Thank you very much. So until next time, my name is Mark R. LePage, and I am an Entrepreneur Architect. Thank you very much for listening. See you next week.
Imagine earning continuing education credits while doing exactly what you're doing right now. Well, you can. Gable Media has revolutionized the way you earn your continuing education credits with a groundbreaking approach. Forget running around town and scouring the internet for credit-worthy courses. Fulfill your CE requirements effortlessly by listening to engaging podcasts just like the one you're listening to now. Our podcasts are designed to educate, entertain, and inspire, all in a user-friendly environment. But wait, there's more. Architects, Gable Media is also approved as an AIA continuing education services provider. Upon completion, we handle everything, from reporting your hours directly to the AIA to storing your certificates in your personal Gable Media profile for your self-reporting needs. So follow the link in the show notes and start earning your credits in the most innovative and entertaining way possible with Gable Media.
Attention architects and creative minds, get ready to supercharge your brand with Build Your Brand, the podcast that's unlocking the secrets of branding success for creatives. Hey there, it's Mark R. LePage, founder of Entre Architect, and I'm inviting you to join my friend, architect marketing expert Jeff Eccles at Build Your Brand podcast, where he explores the captivating stories of the world's top brands and transforms their lessons into powerful moves for small firm architects and creatives like you. In Season 1, Jeff shares the thrilling tale of Southwest Airlines, where he dissects their journey to the summit and distills it into strategies tailor-made for you.
It's important to keep in mind that companies like Southwest compete in the real world, just like you, and face real-world challenges, just like you. You might be surprised at how similar those challenges are to the struggles that you grapple with on a day-to-day basis.
Don't miss out on your blueprint for success. Subscribe, tune in, and let's build your brand together.
You may have noticed that the very best brands in the world are also known for having somewhat unique corporate cultures. That's often the glue that holds everything together when they encounter those rough spots.
We don't do it because it inconveniences the passengers to whom we are primarily dedicated, the short haul, frequent flyer.
Follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Your Brand today. Remember, no matter the size, the journey's the same. Your brand's journey to the top starts here.